Welcome into another edition of our Rambler Insider Series presented by NovaCare. I'm Sam Levitt from the Ramblers Sports Network, and joining me today is Ramblers women's golf head coach Carly Werwie. Coach, an unusual situation, an unfortunate situation with everything going on. How are you running the program remotely?
Yeah, it's definitely a unique situation for sure. One that, no one would have ever expected or would have ever wanted. But I feel our team's done a really good job so far with everything that's been going on. We'll have Zoom meetings. There's different group chats that we'll have with one another. We also have, it's called Google Jam. So it's almost an online dry erase board. So people are posting different pictures and showing kind of what they're doing throughout the last couple months. But we're staying connected as best we can, and so far I do think it's been pretty successful.
And in talking with a number of the head coaches as a part of the Rambler family, it's been so interesting to hear about some of the different things that teams are doing to stay connected. You had a really decorated college career at Wisconsin, came to Loyola from Carthage College in Kenosha. Loyola, your first D1 coaching job. So I'm curious, what have these past couple of years been like?
It's been fun. I'm definitely really happy with how everything's gone, other than the given situation that we're in right now. But I think my background experience definitely helped, and going from D1 high level in the Big Ten and then playing professionally. But then I was a grad assistant at Carthage College, like you had said. So I feel as though I was able to see a lot of the different areas within the sport, and then going into that transition of a D1 head coach. It seemed maybe not overwhelming at first, but kind of just like, oh my gosh, like this is really it. It's happening. I want to do all these things, and I want our team to be successful. But so far, it's been great. Our fellow coaching staff within the athletic department, they're awesome. We talk a lot, and I'm able to go over into their offices and just kind of ask, like, hey, what do you think of this situation? And it's been really, really good. And the team, we're slowly turning around to some lower scores, and it's fun. And I think that's what's so disheartening about this year was that we started to make really good progress and create better numbers and have some of our lowest averages in program history, only to be cut short. But a lot of coaches, I feel, can say that. But it's been a really great transition, and I really love being a Rambler.
And golf is such a unique sport during this time where it's as individual a sport as you can imagine. Some golf courses around the country are reopening. So what has been your message to your players about staying fresh, staying physically fit, and staying sharp in the golf perspective?
Yeah, and like you said, given that golf can be individually but also team, I feel we are in a fortunate situation given the sport that we are. And so first of all, like when they went home, it was kind of just make sure you stay on top of your schoolwork, get adjusted to living back at home, kind of a different living situation. Some may really like being home. Some may like, oh, I miss the college atmosphere, stuff like that. But for a lot of our team, courses and everything were closed. So we really didn't talk too much about golf and different things to keep their games in shape, just kind of letting them adjust and become acclimated to everything that's going on. And now that courses are open a little bit more, some of them are able to go play. And we talked a lot about competition and how the sports season in general for summer could be altered for various sports. But I feel fortunate for us that you can always compete against yourself on the golf course. So whether we talk about tracking our scores or playing different games or different drills against yourself and see like how good can you get, and just some of those different situations. But from a fitness wise, they're all really good with their fitness. I mean, when we're on the road, they work out, and I feel pretty confident with that. So I think the biggest part is just keeping that mental sharpness. And for any sport, it's the competition that keeps you mentally sharp. And I think that's where everyone's going to have to adjust. But so far, I think they're prepared, and we have a good group coming back for the fall.
And we'll talk about some of the players you have coming back in the fall in a moment. I'm curious, and it's something that I've spoken with a number of head coaches about recently. Personally, for you during this time where you have some more free time, things are so unique right now. How are you trying to develop it as a person, a leader, and a head coach?
Yeah, for myself, I used to be really into yoga, and so I've been able to get back into that. And I do think it's just kind of like your own 45 minutes of whether it's more intense or more relaxing to some, whichever way you feel. But just doing that, I've actually been doing a lot of reading which is fun. That's one thing I've always really wanted to get back into. And actually some of my friends who are coaches, we're kind of in a book club, so to say, right now amongst each other. So reading some books with that, talking about different coaching strategies and philosophies. But actually prior to this was watching a webinar on golf fitness and performance. So a couple different webinar things, stuff like that. But just trying to get outside daily. Actually gonna go play golf this afternoon. So kind of all those different things, but just using the time to, I guess, enjoy some downtime before hopefully things can slowly pick back up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm the same way in a broadcasting sense and a personal development sense, trying to figure out ways to stay fresh and come out of this situation a better broadcaster, a better person than we came in. Let's transition to talking about this past season, some of the players you have coming back in the fall. One of those is sophomore Lorenzo Martinez, finished with a team low 78 stroke average this past season, shot 12 rounds in the 70s this season, a really nice campaign. What impressed you most about Lorenzo's development during the course of the year?
Yeah, it's been awesome to see what she's done, and it's exciting, and that's part of where, earlier in the interview we were talking about where we were going, seeing good numbers, and just having those last 3 tournaments get wiped out. But she's done a great job. Lorenzo's really been an impact player for us, both in the classroom, off and on the golf course. And for her, she's worked a lot on her training, hitting the ball further. She's big into reading, so she's really starting to develop a better understanding of the mental game, which is awesome. And that's, the part of the game that so many of us feel we should learn better, but she disciplines herself with it, and it's really exciting. And so just to see, like I said, her focus off the golf course with some of her strength training, how she does her reading, it's exciting. And I know after her freshman year, one of her goals was to finish her round stronger. In the first half of her freshman semester, she struggled a bit with that. And so we really worked on that in the spring. And then to see how she did that this fall, her final 3 or 4 holes of every tournament were around even par, 1 over par, which is awesome. And so it's fun to see, it's exciting to see. And I know she's a great competitor for our program and definitely will push us forward in the future.
And going from a sophomore to talking about a senior in Morgan Brown, lone senior on your team this past year, really consistent performer with the program when you take a look at the numbers. Your thoughts about her contributions to the program?
Yeah, Morgan was really consistent for us, which was awesome. And just that good leadership skills where, even if she wasn't playing great, she somehow got the ball around the golf course and was still able to score within that high 70, no more than maybe an 81, 82 on a bad day, which is really good. And I think the biggest thing that I've seen from Morgan over the last 2 years with her is just same thing, learned the mental game a lot better this last year. And you could really see where she would kind of take a step back, take a little break, and then move forward with it and not letting, a bad shot linger on. And I think that's why this year we saw so much consistency in her scores, and it was really great. And after our tournament rounds, we'd go around the room kind of saying what we feel went well or what could be improved on. And she talked about her attitude a lot, and I hope that a lot of the underclassmen are able to see that and learn from that, because it showed in her consistency. So it's exciting to see how she developed as a player, even though I was only with her for 2 years. But she also finished 3rd all-time scoring in the Rambler program, which is awesome to see.
You've talked a lot about already mentality, attitude, and how important those things are to your program. So let's talk about the mental aspect of the program a little bit more in academics. And obviously at Loyola, that's a big part of any program. And the women's golf program has been really impressive academically for a long time. Lorenzo Martinez named to the NBC Women's Golf Scholar Athlete team this past year. And in years past, there's been so many different academic honors for your players. Why is that so important to the program?
I think it just shows a really good balance. School's forever. That's, you can go and play golf professionally after school. I was fortunate enough to be able to try that. And for my team, if someone on our team wants to go and do that, I absolutely encourage them. But if not, school is going to be what gets you moving, throughout your life and in your career. And I just think they balance it really well. Our upperclassmen do a great job. You know, if we're on the road, we're driving, or if we're flying somewhere, they'll bring out their books, start to study. And then our freshmen who are like, oh, maybe I should do that too. Then they'll take out their books, and it's fun for them. And it's almost, and I don't know if other sports teams think of it as an inner competition, but I know our team does. They always want to keep regaining the highest team GPA award, especially on the female side. And if they can obtain it for both male and female sports, they definitely want to do that. So I think it's just that little inner motivation of that. Just how can you balance and truly be successful in the classroom, out on the golf course, and just in general in life. But it's great. And I try to help them with their time management. They do a great job of it. You know, our schedules are very laid out, and they're just very responsible. And I said, if you can manage, you know, all of your time throughout college, it'll absolutely help you once you graduate. And so far, I think they do a phenomenal job with it.
Let's dive a little bit deeper into that relationship with your players, because you do manage a small group of players when you compare it to some other college sports. So when you talk about things like mentality, attitude, time management, and how you really can play a role in these athletes' lives as they go through their development at a university, what kind of responsibility is that for you to really play a role in their lives in a lot of different ways?
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. Some people may think working with, you know, young adults or college age kids could be a lot with, you know, the way that social media and just the way that the world is kind of moving at a much quicker pace than maybe even like 20 years ago. I know social media wasn't what it was for myself in college, and it's coming up on 9 years, which just seems crazy, but I like it. Like I said, I give them a schedule just so they know, like, when we're practicing, when we have any type of team meeting or anything like that. And I think just having it all planned out for them really helps. And so I want them to see that there are a lot of, you know, hours in the day, but how do you manage that time? And that way, like, I know a lot of them we've worked on, how do you get some of your coursework done before we leave for traveling? And some of them have, you know, maybe not tried it as much, but then once a couple tournaments go in and they do try, like, okay, I'm gonna really get my schoolwork done before we travel, you can just see they ease up while they're playing on the golf course, even while we're at dinner and stuff. They're just enjoying more of the moment and being present versus like, oh my gosh, I have to go back and write a paper. And it's really good to see that, though, because then, like I said, they hopefully try to instill these skills when they're freshman, sophomore. That way, when they get to junior, senior year, they can show it to the underclassmen. But I think they're able to see the enjoyment when you're not stressed and rushed. And I think a lot of it probably does come from what you see from your leader or your coach. I look a lot at what my coach in college did, and I think a lot of what I do is how he was as a leader. You could never see any type of frazzled or frustrations, very kind of calm, but always organized. And I just think it really helps our team because, as you said, we're on a high academic GPA standpoint. Anything I feel that I can do to help them, you know, manage their time better, stuff like that, that's a goal. And I think being able to play a college sport, it's such a unique opportunity. I want them to enjoy those 4 years. You know, you hear of different stories where student athletes are like, oh, I can't wait to be done. I never want to play, you know, X sport, whatever it may be. And I don't want that for my team. And that's where I think it is a really cool, unique situation that, you know, there's 8 or 9 of us, depending on the year, and we're able to really be a close-knit group. And you can truly see how they develop. I know they're adults when they enter college, but you can really see what success they'll have as young ladies once they graduate.
And you make a great point. College is supposed to be fun in a way, and certainly playing D1 college sports is supposed to be fun. Transitioning to the future of the program, I had a good conversation with Eric Hoops, men's head golf coach, about this topic. That is recruiting in the Chicago area and throughout the Midwest. You have 2 recruits coming in this fall, one being Addie Tealbar, the other being Katie Meyer, both Midwest golf players. Why is recruiting the Chicago area and the Midwest in general so important for a program like Loyola?
I think for Loyola, I mean, it's such a great university and the location's awesome. You know, some people may be intimidated by the Water Tower campus where you're downtown, but then you have Lakeshore where you're right on Lake Michigan, and it's really cool to be able to navigate throughout the city. I think it creates such a independent feeling for you, and sometimes people may be like, oh my gosh, a city, how do you go around that? But my team, they love it. And so there's just so many possibilities, I think, with being in Chicago. You can have it be a small field if you want, you can have it be big. So for recruiting, just kind of look at all the different positives. In Illinois, I mean, there's so many great players in Illinois and Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, kind of all around the encompassing area. It's just, there's a lot of golf. And I know people sometimes think like, oh, golf, very Southern, that's where the better players may be. But I don't necessarily think that's the case at all. But it's just, a lot of people want to go to Chicago. A lot of people in the Midwest, they hear about Chicago. And once they get on campus, they're like, oh my gosh, this isn't what I thought it was. They end up being like really surprised at what our campus looks like. And it's so close-knit feeling, but at the same time it's big and you can explore. So I think that's why. And once you kind of get those channels into different areas, like Morgan was from Indiana, Abby, our incoming freshman's from the Indianapolis area, so I wouldn't say she necessarily knows like Morgan's name, but the area, it's like, okay, someone from Indiana, and it slowly spreads and gets bigger as a program. It's like, okay, now Loyola can be on the map, and it's cool to see that, because you always want someone to have a good experience, and if they go back home, it's like, oh yeah, Loyola, and then you never know what can come from it.
I'll throw you a curveball to finish up, and I asked this question to Eric as well. It always surprises people that I have never played a round of golf in my life, considering I work in sports, I work in baseball, and golf is supposed to be such a good thing to know how to play, just from a business standpoint, a social standpoint. So one of my goals when things get a little bit back to more normalcy is to learn how to play golf at some type of level, at least have it as a skill that I can use, hopefully in years to come. How would you recommend I get started?
Recommend to get started. Do you have golf clubs?
No.
Okay. Well,
so I would imagine that's step one.
It can be, or if you were to go to, certain golf courses have rental clubs, certain driving ranges have rental clubs, and you can go just to start swinging that way. But I'd say like the biggest thing is getting started is just not being intimidated or afraid. I do a fair amount of teaching, whether it's golf lessons as a group class or just individual lessons, and a lot of times people will be really intimidated, like, oh my gosh, I might look weird swinging like this. But it's just going out there and just embracing, like, if I'm gonna miss the ball, I'm gonna miss the ball, it's okay. But I would say, first find a place where there's some rental clubs and just have fun, enjoy being outside. I think that's one of the really nice things with golf. You can be outside, you're not stuck in a gym, although when it's raining, it's like, oh, why aren't I in an indoor sport? But I would, look to a driving range or a golf course that has that, or group lessons are also really cool too, because you may have people that are in a similar situation. And then from there, you kind of have someone you can buddy up with, and all of a sudden you're off learning, and next thing you know, you're just shooting even par.
All right, there you go. Well, it's on my to-do list for 2020 is to learn at least at some level how to play golf and have it as something I can do, like go out to the course and hang out with some friends. So that should be fun.
Or you can come out with Eric and I.
Yes, you know what? That sounds like a good plan. Coach, we appreciate the time. Best of luck with everything coming up for you in the women's golf program. Best of luck this coming fall with the new recruits and the players you have coming back. And hopefully we'll talk to you again down the road.